So I know what's coming. I see Luton's a blueprint for every town and city in the UK. What happens with the expansion and the growth of Islam as an ideology and as a culture? It's not good. Islam is a strong sense of community, and a real strong sense of identity. It welcomes everyone in. When someone in this community is affected, a girl is raped, do you understand why we all feel it? Because it's an attack on all of us. Mass immigration come into the community, and we've got a community, and then all of a sudden it's changing with Afghanis, Pakistanis and Somalis who are hostile to us, who are put into the community, who very quickly are having 5 or 6 children. So although there's not that many in the estate, when you then look at the lowest school, the primary school, which is happening now, it's a majority Muslim school like that.
When thinking about comparative religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, is there a way where we realize that the religion is there to help promote goodness and kindness in making this world a better place? The question of unity versus divisiveness. Well, let's listen to Tommy Robinson as he shares with us some insights of the way he feels is where Islam is at, where Christianity and Judaism are at.
I've tried to highlight it. Obviously, I'm from a town called Luton, which is 30 miles north of where we are now. And I've seen all these problems. I've seen them 15, 20 years ago. I've seen them from my whole life. So I know what's coming. See Luton's a blueprint for every town and city in the UK. What happens when you become a minority? Why English are a minority in Luton? What happens with the expansion and the growth of Islam as an ideology and as a culture? It's not good.
When I think of a culture having an identity, it is a shared set of values that tell you what is acceptable behavior, what is not acceptable behavior, and you can articulate it out loud. And you can say, around here, we don't do this, and we do this. And that's why whether Christianity, Islam, doesn't matter, they're able to give you a very articulatable set of do's and don'ts. And so when I hear you say we've lost our identity, what I hear is we've lost our set of do's and don'ts. But when you explain like football stepping into that void, I don't know that it carries the value system in the way I think of it.
I think when I say identity, I mean community as well. I mean sense of community. Islam is a strong sense of community, and a real strong sense of identity. It's a brotherhood, and it welcomes everyone in. And then I used to sit sometimes and I'd be jealous of the Islamic community in the way they have their sense of community. They're all together. They've got everything together. We don't, and ours has been broken down. And I'll explain it like, say, for example, and I try and look at the educated. There was a gentleman called Tom Costello. Tom, if you're watching this, I'm still upset with you. There's a gentleman called Tom Costello who was, he got the best grades at Oxford University, yeah? And he went on to become a film producer. And he made a documentary with me called Proud and Prejudiced, which was in Luton. And I welcomed him into my life. I said, come on in, experience my life, so you can actually see my life, not so you can report and do this film. When I met him, we went up to the local shops, and after we went to the shops, we went to the local pub, we went, and he sat down and he said, I've never experienced this. I said, what do you mean? And he said, the community, you all know each other. Every one of you are hugging each other. Everyone, you know everyone. Everyone knows everyone. I said, yeah. He said, well, he went to a boarding school, so he didn't know everyone where he lived. He then went to a university, yeah, in another town, so he didn't know anyone there. He's now living in another town. He doesn't know anyone there. And I tried to explain to him, so do you understand, Tom, when you see what you've just witnessed with us, when someone in this community is affected, i.e. a girl is raped, do you understand why we all feel it? Because it's an attack on all of us. So that is our sense of community. But then I can explain that mass immigration come into the community, and we've got a community, and then all of a sudden it's changing with Afghanis, Pakistanis and Somalis who are hostile to us, who are different, who are put into the community, who very quickly are having 5 or 6 children. So although there's not that many in the estate, when you then look at the lowest school, the primary school, which is happening now, it's a majority Muslim school like that within years. Like that, the place has changed. And as that happens, whether it be through hostility or just change, people want to leave. So the community we had is now broken. It's been broken. And people are leaving and they're moving or they're coming under attack. And I gave a presentation at Oxford University about this that showed 66 violent attacks on non-Muslim homes in one area before the police acted. That's an attack. And it was coming from the Muslim community, members of the Muslim community, because they didn't want non-Muslims in the houses. And I've seen all of this growing up. Yeah. So I see that our sense of community that we had And I do accept identity comes from Christian values, which is where we're now looking back. We're now years, I never used to look at this. I'm now looking back thinking, where do our value system come from? What's right and wrong? Where does it come from?
So there's a few things that we're going to have to tease out, because from the outside looking in on why people react so strongly either with you or against you, I think it comes down to the difference between identity and community and belonging. So if identity carries with it a set of values, but community and belonging, the values it's riding in the background, but it's really the reason that you could feel a sense of community and belonging with a football club as quickly as we all grew up in Luton, as quickly as Christianity, is that is, oh, you're in group versus out group. So just being in the in group, and they've done tests on this. It's like, oh, we're the people that wear blue shirts. And so we're on a team, and you can get the kids to treat each other differently just based on the color of the shirt they wear. So we have this algorithm in our brain that says, all right, is this person in my group or out? Exactly. Yeah, so I want to make sure that we're careful to separate these different things, because I certainly understand why anybody would be frustrated that they have a community, a sense of belonging, and then something comes in to disrupt that. But I think there will be much less empathy from the world for just disruption, that people move and all of that. But if there is a collision of values, to me, we have shown historically we will kill over values. And that's where this makes me nervous, both for you guys and for us in the US. And as a maybe neutral example to explain to people, Catholics and Protestants look exactly alike, and yet we're killing each other in droves. So that's what happens when values collide. So I want to understand, I get there's a bunch of things, but is the main complaint, before we get to some of the change in crime statistics and stuff like that, is this a complaint about we have people that are coming in and breaking apart our sense of tribal belonging? Or is it we have people coming in that don't share our values, and that's creating...
It's our values, because their values are the total opposite. So, for example, Luton, if you line all my friends up, say 30 of my main friends growing up, most of us are the sons of immigrants, and many of us are not white, but we've all shared the same value system. So we had one part of the town that didn't share the value system and actually was hostile to the rest and didn't integrate or assimilate in any way. Yeah. So, and we didn't create that environment. So as children, when I went to high school as an 11-year-old child, there's the Muslim playground and the non-Muslim playground. We didn't create that.
Why did they do that?
Because they don't integrate or assimilate. They don't play with you.
But was the goal, we need to protect
It wasn't the school
them?
doing it. No, it wasn't the school doing it. It's just all the Muslims were on one playground.
Got it. So
all the non-Muslims were on another playground.
Non-officially, it just sort of happened.
It divided.
Got it. School of fish.
So go into the dinner hall at school, and you'd have white children mixed in with black children, mixed in with Chinese children, mixed in with Hindus, Sikhs, and in the corner you'll have 10 tables of Muslims. So I learned very quickly when I went to high school, well, this lot are very different. The Pakistanis. There's something real different about them. When we were growing up, you'd have a punch up, you'd have a fight. Not with them, you wouldn't, because 20 of them would jump you and kick you all over the floor. And I've never seen that. I've never understood that. And all of a sudden, there's like, you mess with one, you've declared war on the whole tribe. Something different here. Yeah. So this the value system. Yeah, where the way they spoke to women, the way they'd beat up women, girls, they'd beat up girls. We had a rule at school: you don't hit a girl. Yeah. Muslim boys will beat up girls, and that's it. They don't care about whether it's a girl or not. So I saw a level of aggression, saw a level of hostility, and saw it was like mixing oil and water. You're mixing two things here, and we're all children. Yeah, and I never understood it. I just knew, Jesus, this is something very different going on here. Yeah, and then I'd experienced it growing up. I knew girls who were victims of grooming gangs. My cousin was one, 13, 14. She woke up being raped by multiple Muslim men with beards. I knew so many girls that were just lost and disappeared, basically, into these gangs. And the Hindus weren't doing it. And the Sikhs aren't doing it. No one else is doing it. The black clads ain't doing it. This is something so different, a value system that believes you can do this. You can treat a girl like this. You can take them and they are worthless. And all of these values are alien to us, but every other value, if it was just people coming into the community, then when my best two mates growing up were from Trinidad and Tobago, yeah, Daniel and Dean. When they come in, there wasn't a problem. We got on, we become best friends. We become like family, yeah? But that wasn't the same with the Islamic community. And that isn't our fault. None of this is our fault, yeah? As youngsters, and I'll challenge you, Tom, while you're in England, yeah? Go to Luton, take your cameras, try and find a Muslim with a non-Muslim. Just try and find one in the town. You won't, unless they're selling them drugs. And I used to say it to most journalists when going to the town centre, because I used to do the walkthrough with the journalists to show them my town. Yeah, and I say, just find me one. Find me one. You might, when they're work colleagues having lunch, yeah, outside of work, outside of the school gates, you find me a group of Muslims with a non-Muslim. You just won't find them.
Okay, so we have a problem of integration. So by way of parsing out how your personal value system works in the world, every time somebody puts forward an idea, a hypothesis, it makes a prediction. So what you're saying is, this is about value system for me. Now, if that's actually true, if a Muslim person came in and was like, hey, I actually feel more aligned with you guys, I want to hang out, I want to chill, that wouldn't be a problem. If they're... Okay.
Listen, when I'm saying this, you have to understand that some of the best lads I knew are Muslim lads growing up, yeah? So I'm not saying every Muslim here, because one of my best mates, Sully, whose mum's black Kenyan Muslim, yeah, is as integrated and assimilated, but he doesn't follow Islam, yeah? He's a great British lad, okay? But he doesn't follow Islam. So I never understood what this was about until 2011. I'm sat on solitary confinement for 22 weeks, and the Muslim outreach group sent me in the Quran, yeah? And I'd never read the Quran or got my head into the Quran. I just knew Pakistanis are a problem here, yeah? Big problem, right? But I hadn't gone down the Islam route. I'd looked into Al-Mujahideen, I'd looked into terrorist organisations, but I hadn't. When I got the Quran, I thought, right, let's try and make sense of this book. And again, I'll challenge anyone to do it. Open the Quran, and every time there's a reference to not be friends with Christians or Jews, write down the verse number. And within 20 minutes, I had pages. And it all made sense. It was like a jigsaw just fell into place. My whole upbringing fell into place. I was like, oh my God, if you're getting taught this from the age of 4 or 3 or 4, you're being told you can't be friends with Christians and Jews. No wonder they weren't friends with us. This is everything to them. This is the teaching of God. This is what's perfect. This is how they have to live their life. They're not allowed to be friends. They're just not allowed to. So, of course, as a white family, if we were bringing our children up, and I tried to explain this to Muslim leaders in the town when it all started kicking off in Luton in 2009, that's when all this hit. It all come together with the formation of the English Defence League, and lots of things happened. But I said, if we were bringing our kids up from 3 years old or 2 years old and teaching them, you don't be friends with blacks. You do not be friends with blacks. You're superior to blacks. You're better than blacks. Blacks are all going to burn in hellfire. Blacks are evil. Blacks are cattle. Blacks are this. All the things that the Quran says about us, there would be an explosion of racism. And what we're seeing is an explosion of religious intolerance towards us. Now, Christianity is not telling us that about Muslims. It's not telling us Muslims are specifically evil. It's not telling us, and we're not embedded in it, or weren't. I was brought up a Catholic. My mum was a Catholic, yeah? But we're not embedded in it the way that Islam is. And so I think that was the foundations for me. I can only talk about my life experience of what I've seen, how I've seen it, how things have developed, the differences. And I saw, and then also the surrender.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tommy Robinson. And we salute your efforts and your bravery. You have been through a lot. You have gone through a lot trying to defend your country and trying to be able to make people aware of what's happening. Sometimes we get into a mode of complacency and apathy that we just get caught up in our own life and our own world, that we don't realize the greater picture. We don't see a step ahead or a few steps ahead what's coming our way. And this has been your vision. You have been able to alert the world as to what is happening and what direction we're going, and that there is still time to do something about it. But what you bring up about religion and community, that yes, religion has been designed to be a unifying, to bring people together. You have a common faith, a common belief, a common theological belief system, and the goal is to unite the people. There's a certain brotherhood, sisterhood, when you share the same belief system, the same religion, and you're cut from the same material. There's a sense of commonality that is there for that, which is 100%. So let's break that down. Let's talk about religion, and where did religion begin and where is it today? Religion, by definition, refers to a theological belief system. Judaism is the mother of all religions. It all began with one man that we refer to him as the patriarch, Abraham. Abraham grew up in a house of idol worshiping. That was the only religion that he knew, was idol worshiping things and idols. As he emerged, he had a sixth sense that felt that this was not right. How do you worship an idol? How do you worship a stone that there is no life to it? And he began exploring. He went outside, he looked up to the sky, he saw the stars, the moon, the sun, and he said, this couldn't have happened by itself. There has to be a creator. And he spent 75 years exploring the world and trying to come up with an understanding that there has to be a divinity. There's got to be a God in this world. At the age 75 is when God and Abraham met each other for the first time. God appeared to Abraham and said, I see your journey and I see what you are seeking. And yes, I am here with you. Let's do this together. And it was at that time that God told Abraham, time to pack your bags, leave your place of birth, leave your family, and I'm going to show you a land where you're going to go and you're going to establish a new religion. You will become a father to the many, to a great nation. And that is the beginning. What did Abraham and Sarah do as soon as they made this connection, this communion to God in heaven? The very first thing they did was they pitched a tent in the scorching hot Middle Eastern desert. In the tent, they had 4 entrances and exits, so people from all 4 corners can come. Strangers would come into the tent as a hospitality, and he would give them water, food, lodging. People were so grateful of this kindness. They have never seen this before. And they would thank Abraham and Sarah for this. And Abraham and Sarah say, don't thank us. This is all from God in heaven. This is the first introduction of God. No one heard of God until it was all idol worshiping. And this is the seedlings. This is the bedrock, the cornerstone, the foundation of religion is kindness, generosity, sensitivity, empathy, sympathy, embracing your fellow unconditionally, regardless of race, color, or religion. That is how religion began. And that is what religion is all about. Religion is about including God in the conversation, but most importantly, treating each other as we are all created in God's image, and we are all need to appreciate and accept each other from who we are so that we can be God's ambassador for good. And that is what Judaism brought to the world. Judaism brought to the world the Torah, the lessons, the codes, the ethics, the morals that we stand by today. The judicial system that we stand by today came from God 3,338 years ago on Mount Sinai, when God descended on the mountain and had a great revelation in the presence of 3 million eyewitnesses. 3 million Israelites witnessed God's revelation when he taught them the 10 Commandments. And then Moses brought down the Torah as we know it till today. The Bible, which is still the best-selling book ever in all history, is because that is our guide to success. That is what teaches us our purpose in life, how to live through life, how to make it through birth to death, being productive, meaningful, purposeful, and realizing that we are all God's ambassador to make this world a better place. You are an ambassador from God. Because the day you were born, God said, the world can no longer exist without you. So you count, you are important. And when you open up your heart to God, this is the religion. This is the theological religion. Any religion that does not profess this, any religion that's not obsessed with life and the living, is not a religion. It's a death cult. And we know that the Judeo-Christian Alliance, which we respect and study the Bible, know that God wants us to love life and hate death. Love the living, hate destruction. That is who we are. Unfortunately, there are some religions out there that teach the opposite. They are obsessed with death. They're obsessed with the afterlife. But that is not a religion, that is a death cult. And that perhaps can help us understand what we are up against. And hopefully we'll be able to prevail, where light will not only dispel the darkness, it will transform the darkness to better and greater times. God bless you. God loves you.